All right, I'd like to take a moment to talk to the woodwind players out there. Now, if you're considering switching to tuba, great. You might find that it's sometimes even easier or it's a lot more fun to play than whatever instrument you might be switching from. But there's a few differences about brass instruments you need to know about before you start switching. One is about how the instrument's played and how it functions. That is very, very important to brass instruments because it's very different from woodwind instruments. So far, if you've played a woodwind instrument, you've learned a lot about using fingerings to be able to get certain notes out. And then you've had to make some type of embouchure to either vibrate a reed or vibrate some air over a tone hole. And that is a very different way of going about producing a sound. That's why woodwinds are in their own category. When we talk about a brass instruments are very, very different. And the first key thing to know about a brass instrument is that they do not have holes in their instrument for air to come out. You do not have to worry about covering up holes. The air enters the instrument through the mouthpiece, it goes all the way through the entire instrument and then out the end. No stopping. There's no hole for that you open or anything like that. With that being said, that provides some challenges for a brass instrument, but also provides some advantages to a brass instrument. Let's talk about a few of those different ones. Well, first of all, when you were playing a woodwind instrument, you might have learned that sometimes to be able to get a high note on the instrument, you've hit like an octave key, or you've done a half hole, or you've overblown the note to make the note sound up higher. Brass instruments do not have octave keys, so when it comes time to playing a note low or a note high, they have to do all of the changing of the note with how they control their lips. Controlling the lips is a very big part of playing a brass instrument. And what I'm going to recommend before you go to the Getting Started page and just start in on learning some of the basics is understand that when you had to play a woodwind instrument, you had to have either a reed or something going. You might have had to assemble a lot of it. Brass instruments on their own, very simple. Usually it's just the mouthpiece and the body of the instrument. They have very little things to assemble. But at the same time, there is some maintenance that needs to be done in brass instruments, such as oiling the valves. They usually sometimes have slides that need to be lubricated as well. And those are the things that you're going to find a little bit awkward at first, but I'll tell you right now, it's nothing to be worried about, because when you start playing the instrument, you'll see that the advantages kind of outweigh some of the disadvantages. Another thing you're going to need to understand is that if you're playing a woodwind instrument, you're most likely playing in treble clef. Treble clef is different from bass clef. Okay, that's going to be one thing to keep in mind. They look different, and not only do they look different, the notes on the staff have different names. So that's going to be one thing you're going to have to get used to. In the resource and links page, you'll have a fingering chart where you can kind of check out how the notes have different names. You might even want to use some of the flashcards to be able to start getting used to reading the bass clef notes, because the tuba music is often written in a different clef, and it's not only in a different clef, it's written much, much lower in the staff, where most of you aren't used to reading. So with those things being said, hopefully that'll give you some insight to what you're getting into, and I hope playing the tuba can be a lot of fun for you, and I hope you enjoy it. After this video, I'd recommend you go check out the Get Started page to get some more information, or if you already have an instrument to start experimenting with, get started right now. Go ahead and go to the Get Started page first before you take it out, and watch the video through maybe one time and see if you have any questions. Anytime along the way you get confused or you miss something, always remember you can rewind video, go back and check it out again. Thanks.